All right, so full disclosure, this is a take 2 because we recorded an entire intro and then I realized my recording wasn't recording. So welcome to the Luck We Had, a shameless recap podcast. We didn't even say that last time.
No, we didn't.
I'm one of your hosts. My name is Amanda.
We were doing our monologues before the episode, like always.
Right, we were like, we're justifying why this episode didn't come out, quote unquote, on time.
Yeah, we're abandoning that
Yeah.
model. Like, we're gonna try to stick to the every 2 weeks to keep us consistent, but especially coming up to episodes that I've never seen before or that I've only watched once. I have definitely only watched season 5 one time. Like,
Real?
I've only watched it one time. Yeah.
Oh my god.
I watched my favorite episodes, like the Ian kidnapping Yiv episode.
Oh, okay, but like 502, 503, like...
I've only watched it once, because every other season I would re-watch before a new season started, and season 5 ended, and I went, fuck you, goodbye, and I left
You said,
forever.
I'm not a viewer anymore.
I've rewatched it so many times.
No, dude, I've watched that entire series too many times.
We said in our previous recording that we had to end up deleting, because nothing recorded, that we're going to be taking our time with the episodes from now on, because it is more fun to listen to when we have more fun recording it.
Exactly. So we're not rushing. We're not trying to get out at a certain time. We're not trying to overlook things we maybe want to say. No, we're going to take our sweet time and enjoy every bit of it. And I feel like you also will be able to enjoy it more. Because
Right, you guys will be like, we're laughing, we're giggling, like, you guys are being funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Lena is a full-time student, Evan works mornings, and I work nights. So, like, it is hard.
I also work nights.
Yeah, and then Lena
Yeah.
also works until like 11 p.m. Starbucks.
It's hard. We have to, like, this is my one of my days off, and I was lucky enough that my new cap on my tooth didn't make my mouth numb for a few hours, so we can record today.
That was very lucky.
My store is getting ventilation put in this week, so I have off for the next 4 days, which is
I'm
slay.
on spring break, so I'm off for a week.
Woo!
But I believe, honestly, waiting a few weeks between episodes is going to be fine now, because this is Emily. And then all of season 5 is like banger after banger after banger, and then a flop right at the end there. But
it's banger for the first like 45 minutes, and then the last 5 minutes
then
are
it's
like, what
crying,
is going
ugly
on
sobbing.
here?
flop. Not unlike apparently the finale of Euphoria yesterday.
Oh my god, don't even
Topical.
get me started.
No,
well, we're gonna have to bring it up. You'll see in the notes. We're gonna have to discuss a little Euphoria this week.
We got a little
Lena.
cameo.
Yeah.
But I watched the finale of Euphoria and last week's episode, but I have not been watching. I've never seen anything past the first 3 episodes. I just know what Twitter thinks is important for me to know.
Yeah.
But I will say, Righteous Gemstones, the time slot after Euphoria, fucking rocked their season finale. And you guys
Hell
should all be
yeah.
watching it, because Danny McBride and his team, I think, are pretty genius this time around. They've made questionable content in the past. This one's good, though.
You guys are out here watching shows that are currently on television. I'm in a comfort rewatch of The West Wing right now. And it wasn't until I got to one of the most traumatizing episodes, when the title card came up at the end with the producers of the show, that I saw John fucking Wells was a producer on The West Wing.
Is he even working anymore?
No, he probably took his shameless money and said, fuck y'all.
Yeah, for real.
I literally have only been watching It's Always Sunny recently, and I don't know what's going on with my brain, and I feel sick in the head, but it's great.
No, I've been rewatching
that.
Workaholics a lot, especially because they're all involved in other projects right now. So they're
That
actually
study
putting
podcasts,
out.
though, do be entertaining, so I've been
They-
watching that.
They're eating it up.
Oh, yeah.
They're eating it up. Workaholics podcast, they're eating it up. Like, I don't know, these
The
men.
Luck We Had podcast is eating it
The Luck We Had
up.
podcast is eating it up. I'm like, I cannot get enough of these little white guys.
Oh, speaking of, I want to shout out to the one person who has bought our merchandise.
Yeah,
so
I
far.
saw that.
Hold
Hell
on, I'm
yeah.
gonna pull up their Instagram, because I have them in our messages.
Buy our merch, the crew necks. I 100% recommend. They are super duper soft.
Yep, they are really, really nice shirts. That is not to say that we're not gonna love you if you don't, because
No,
money
we
is.
will
But
love you
Kevin,
regardless,
shout
but-
out to Kevin.
Yeah, Kevin.
Oh, hey Kevin.
Kevin.
He's at KevinDevin11 on Instagram.
Ooh, what a
Shout out to
username.
Kevin for ordering a shirt. I'm currently wearing my Luck We Had shirt. If you guys want a Luck We Had shirt, the link is in the bio of our Instagram and our Twitter. It's in our link tree. It's a bonfire campaign, so you order the shirt, and then when the campaign's over, you get shipped the shirt. You'll love to see it.
And when you buy your shirt, it takes a little bit to ship, like about a month. So sometimes you might forget, and then it might show up in your door. And guess what? You have a little surprise, and it's your Luck We Had merch.
A little surprise gift.
That you bought for yourself.
And then if you want a sticker of Lena's beautiful, sexy design, or of the beautiful, sexy design of our logo, you message our Instagram, and we get you a fucking sticker, babe. Like, let's do it.
Oh, I will get you a sticker.
And why? Why do you want a sticker of this podcast? Because why is this podcast so important? It is because we cover episodes like today's episode. Season 4, episode 11, fucking Emily!
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 Fun fact, so the airing date of this episode is March 30th, 2014. Lena, where were we that date? We were in Florida.
Were we at Playlist Live?
We were at Playlist Live in Florida.
That
Me and
is
Lena
so
were at the
funny.
same convention, yet we weren't friends yet, so.
We never met each other. I don't even think we'd ever spoken. Maybe we followed each other, but we never actually
Didn't become
talked.
friends until afterwards.
When I think you guys said that for the last episode, so you went in March, but March 30th was like when the convention was?
Is that true?
Yeah, it was like the end of March, so I think it was like 28th, 29th, 30th, like Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Is that the convention
Let's
where you
see,
met Zoe?
Playlist Live.
Yeah, that's where I met Zoe and your parents. I also met Amanda's sister who designed our beautiful logo and her parents there because they came to Florida as well.
Yeah, fun fact, Evan has met my parents, but I've never met Evan
Yeah.
in person.
Me and Amanda have been friends for like 7 years.
We've been doing this
That's
podcast together for almost 2
years.
years now, and we've never met in person.
We're going
None of
to.
us.
I'm going to make a bus up to your ass at some point.
All right,
Well, don't you live
Wait, are you
around Philly?
I do.
Philly's only
I
an
do
hour
live in
away
the
from
Philly
me.
area.
Yeah, I'll be like, I'm out here. I was trying to look up the actual date of Playlist Live 2014, but for some reason it straight up is not existing on the internet.
It didn't happen.
All right.
I guess not.
Are we ready? Take a deep breath. Get settled
Ready to
in.
rock and
We're
roll.
ready to
Ready.
discuss the episode of episodes, the one in this series, fucking Emily. We really hope it lives up to the hype because wow, this episode. And it was written by our lovely and talented Nancy M. Pimental. This is her. And also written by Lisa Morales, our girl,
Miss
savior
Girl.
of season 4.
Queen.
Nancy, this is her 11th of 27 episodes she writes on through the series. I'm not going to name them all. That's an insane thing to do. She also, including the Hall of Shames, she's written 30 episodes. And she was also a producer on the entire series. Nancy gets her bag with Shameless.
She is
Wait.
shameless.
There were 5 Hall of Shames though, right? So
Nancy wrote on 3 of them.
She wrote Ian and Mickey,
Kevin,
Kevin
V.
V. And did she write Debbie Carl Liam or did she write Lip or did
Fiona.
Fiona? She wrote Fiona's. That makes
Yeah.
sense to me. That
Yeah.
Threw
tracks.
her ass under the bus.
What were they supposed to do?
I know, but still, it's funny.
No, that the concept of the dating thing was kind of weird
It
to
was
me.
so.
Speaking of actors leaving the show, the Goldbergs, the show The Goldbergs is in the last few episodes of its series, and the guy that plays the dad walked
Didn't
off.
Jeff Garland get fired? Yeah. No,
yeah,
I don't
no,
think
he didn't.
walked off.
He
I
didn't
think
get
got
fired. He quit
Really?
because he was told to like rein in his language around some of the women on set, so he quit.
What?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Damn, so now you don't even have.
he's the dad on the show. The show is about to end.
The Goldbergs reaching euphoria behind the scenes level drama.
Damn, so you freaking lose Roseanne and now freaking the Goldberg.
Wait, what?
No. The Goldbergs, the new one, isn't like a reboot of the old one. The cast is totally different. If anything,
I
would
thought it
be
was
worried-
the dad from the original one, right?
No, it's not.
No,
It's
what
not
are
a reboot.
you guys
Jeff
are
Garlin-
talking about? The Connors. The Goldbergs is not related to Roseanne at all.
Oh, I thought I was talking about the Connors.
And the dad on the Connors is John Goodman.
Okay, I just had a
Yeah.
stroke. I thought I thought the Connors and the Goldbergs were the same thing. I do apologize.
No.
I do not watch television. I apologize.
But John Goodman is an American treasure and a wonderful man. As far as I know, I've never met him. But he could be my grandpa.
He's Fred Flintstone.
Yeah.
Jeff Garland, you would know. Curb Your Enthusiasm. That's what you would know Jeff Garland from.
Okay.
Yeah.
He does kind of look like John Goodman, though. I'll give him that one.
Anyway, Lisa Morales is the other writer on this episode. This is her 6th of 11 writing credits on the series. 7 as a staff writer, 4 as a story editor. She did 403, Like Father, Like Daughter, 405, There's the Rub, 406, Iron City, 407, Jailbird, Invalid, Martyr, etc., 408, Hope Springs Paternal, this one, motherfucking Emily, and 412, Lazarus. She was a story editor on 508, Uncle Carl, 509, Carl's for Sentencing, 511, Southside Rules, 510, Southside Rules, and 511, Drugs, Actually.
She carried this season on her back.
Oh, yeah.
And she dipped out right before that season 5 finale, and it shows.
She was literally like, I'm out of here. Like,
she was like, I tried. I'm not going to watch it flop.
This episode was brilliantly directed by Anthony Hemingway. This is the 4th of 7 episodes he has directed. He did 205 Father's Day, 302 The American Dream, 306 Cascading Failures, this one, 506 Crazy Love, 611 Sleep No More, and 802 Where's My Meth.
611 and 802 are both very good episodes. I know you haven't seen them either, but they are both iconic.
No,
episodes.
Where's My Meth is a really,
Where's My Meth is so fucking good
episode.
And then Sleep No More is just a very dramatic lead up to a very dramatic season 6
I think
finale.
I forget what happens in Sleep No More, but Amanda, I think you were
it
right,
is
like
it is setting
802.
up if you remember, it is setting up the reveal at Fiona's wedding.
Fuck.
It sets up that reveal.
Amanda.
I think that's the episode. I think that's the episode with that's my pork chop.
That's my pork chop. Dude, me and Lena had an inside joke of where, like, I was just like, where's my pork chop?
It's not even really an inside joke because it was just a thing
just
in the episode.
Big thing.
And it was so goddamn funny. Where's my pork chop?
Okay, the synopsis of this episode of Emily is Fiona is hauled away to a correctional facility. Bitch spends the entire episode on a fucking bus.
She really does.
Frank wakes up from his operation. Ian crashes Mickey's son's christening. Amanda's parents bribe Lip to stay away. Oh, and DCFS makes an unexpected visit.
I will say I do feel like Fiona is a bit sidelined in this episode, but I do think that her absence carries more weight.
Yeah.
Because you can feel it.
Specifically because of Frank's plot line that, if anything, her absence makes more sense.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think they did just enough with Fiona in this episode. They keep her at a distance because, like, there isn't really much to tell about her story right now, but they keep her around too.
Right. Nothing's happening with her.
Because they're actually following how the days work for her storyline.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and just like how monotonous life is in prison. It's like, yeah, that's kind of just what's going on with her.
Yeah. The Previously On was done by Kev while cleaning the Alibi bathroom. It was pretty great previously on. And previously on Shameless, Svetlana has threatened Mickey with Terry. Mickey and Kev are beefing. Sheila wants to adopt her ex-boyfriend's kids. Frank was dying and got married and got a new liver. Amanda and Lip are fake dating to scare her parents. Carl is dating Bonnie, who lives in a van with her family. Debbie is beefing with Maddie's new girlfriend. Fiona violated probation and is going to jail.
Snaps all around.
Title sequence, and this episode is so brilliantly directed. It's so good. We open on a prison bus driving down the highway. Again, it looks cold.
Oh my god,
everything about it looks cold.
I was about to say that. I was like, I feel cold watching that. Just like what they're wearing.
It's all like ice white.
It's white. It's like the it's just gray, and you can see their breath on the bus. Like, you know, like a metal fucking school bus in the ass crack of dawn, like going to school.
They're all in their matching prison issued like brown jackets with a hat.
Shirts.
It's so, like, it looks so cold. The coloring works wonders with that. We open on a prison bus driving down the highway. She's headed about 3 hours away to prison. Her seatmate stabbed a pregnant lady. That's why she's there. Things are going great for Fiona.
The way
They're
the
going really
lady
well.
goes, she was like,
so I stabbed her a little bit.
I didn't know she was pregnant. Oops. And I was like,
yeah. Yeah, I mean, and Fiona never had to go to prison. She spent time in county jail, county prison or whatever. This is state penitentiary.
Yeah.
She is
so
gone for 90 days.
She's freaking terrified.
I would be too.
So Sammy and Chucky are visiting Frank in the hospital, and the hospital also has a really good coldness to it. Like, not physically cold, but like that fluorescent lighting look.
The episode coloring is like, it makes you want to wear a jacket.
Someone just turned the saturation down to like 40% or something.
Yeah.
They were like, that little slider bar on iMovie, they were like, pew!
Except for in like a couple of scenes, and it makes the color in those scenes pop so well.
Specifically, I think the Debbie scenes.
Yeah, and the church scene too. I'm gonna have a lot to say about the church scene, but
they turned the blue filter up on that one. They were like, beep.
So Sammy and Chucky are visiting Frank, and then we meet Emily. Emily is a little girl who needs a new heart, and she's Frank's new roommate, and she is going to emotionally devastate us.
Okay, but like the little one-liners between like Chucky, Sammy, Emily, and Emily's mom are so funny in this scene.
Well, because isn't the mom like, do not air out our dirty laundry? And then Sammy's like, oh, please, our laundry's the dirtiest of them all.
Yeah.
Because the girl's like, Chucky's like, someone asks, like, is that your dad? And she was like, my dad left. He left when I got sick.
She said that with her whole chest.
She was like, my dad left when we got sick.
Mama says men can't handle tragedy, and then the mom's like, Emily.
And that establishes something so relevant to this, is that Emily doesn't have a dad to cling to, and that comes into play later in the episode. And like, Emily is so cool. Emily is like a toned down version of like Sammy and a kid, because the mom is like a little bit of a mess, but she's like doing her very best. And
and that's funny to me, because it's like the mom is legit in a pretty bad crisis.
Mm-hmm.
Sammy, yes, she's in like, they don't have a lot of money, but it's like, girl, you're all healthy.
Yeah.
Like, you're all fine. But she's like, Sammy is just like off the rails sometimes.
Oh, and the status of Frank is he got his liver transplant, but he hasn't woken up yet. And so they spend the episode trying to wake him up. That's the whole thing. We go over to the Gallagher house. Carl is waking up and sees Mickey asleep in Ian's bed. Ian is working out using the door frame of a room a few rooms away.
And he's doing like pull-ups in the door. I love this because Carl walks up and he starts like punching his like abdomen.
That was such a slay. I'll say it.
It's so cute.
He looked good. He was doing those pull-ups. Carl was like, I'm being funny.
Yeah. Yeah, no, so Carl asks Ian, Mickey your boyfriend? And Ian like avoids that answer.
Well, because even he doesn't know.
We hang out. He's asleep in your bed. Yeah, his family's a nightmare. And then Carl's like, I have a girlfriend. Her family's a nightmare too. And then he asks if Ian loves Mickey. And Ian says, I like how he smells. And then instead of refuting the do you love him comment, Mickey wakes up and goes, what you asking stupid fucking questions for?
And I love Carl. He goes, I like you. You were better when you were asleep.
Right. He's like, shut the fuck up. But yeah, no, it's like, I mean, Ian clarifies later in this scene, are we a couple? Because even he isn't quite sure where they stand.
Yeah.
Like, he's literally like, we hang out.
We
I
hang
don't
out.
know.
He's being coy. He's not answering Carl's questions. And then Mickey wakes up and he goes into the bathroom. And then Carl gives them the information about Frank, like, in case you care. And Ian's like, don't. And then Ian walks into the bathroom, like, swinging his arm and stretching it. Clock that arm stretch, people. Clock it. These are fun little symptoms that we get to address later. Because that's the same thing he did when he was looking for Fiona with Debbie. He, like, rolled his shoulder because he had little muscle spasms because fucking method-ass Cameron, like, those are symptoms of bipolar disorder, like, in your muscles and in your body.
Right. Also because, I mean, he's got so much energy. He's probably working out constantly without proper, like, recovery time.
Also, Mickey looks really good all rumpled and in that gray t-shirt. And, yeah.
And his little boxers, gray shirt.
I can't even say anything else. I'm just like, he slays.
He slays.
They both look really hot this season, and there's no getting around it.
Except for the fact that they have the same goddamn haircuts.
No, that adds to it.
Get that shit out of here.
Curtis!
Get the fuck out of here.
Fuck out of here.
That is so how I felt.
Okay, we're back into it. Back into it. So Ian follows Mickey into the bathroom, and Mickey tells him, he gives him the lowdown of his day. He's got to go to his son's christening. He's got to go to Yevgeny's christening. And Ian's like, all right, I'll go too. And Mickey says, no, I will meet you back here later. You don't go. And they tussle a little bit until Mickey pins Ian to the bed. The parallels.
Ugh.
Sorry, I had such a question. Jewish girl question. So, is a baptism the same thing as a christening?
Yes.
Okay.
You just get dunked.
At
Your baby gets dunked, and they say some words.
So, at what age is that typically?
Less than
I
a
think when you're
year?
not a baby, it's a baptism. And when you're a baby, it's a christening.
Yeah. So, like,
Yeah.
toddler age versus infant.
So, confirmation. That's by choice?
That's a whole thing. You have to, like, go to classes and shit. Yeah, that's a whole thing.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, so they tussle a little bit, and they, like, pin each other to the wall, and it's super hot. Like, best if you don't, tough guy. Like, the way he said, like, probably best if you don't, tough guy.
Well, it's like,
Fuck
what
off.
are you bitches doing? Get a room.
Mickey's bangs in his eyes.
Ian has whipped his shirt off at some point, and Mickey pins Ian to the bed
Oh,
exactly
yeah.
like he did the first time they hooked up.
Ian took his shirt off because he was like, okay, I'll go change, like, I'm coming with, and Mickey was like, no,
He's
and
like,
then
"No,
Ian
no,
was
no,
like,
no."
okay, I'm about to put you in your goddamn place.
Because Ian's having a little bit of a break. And Mickey pins Ian to the bed, and Ian asks, are we a couple? And Mickey, without blinking, says, of course we are. Straight up just answers it, yes,
Yeah,
we
we
are.
are.
We're a couple. Of course we are. And Ian's like, a couple who hides, and Mickey doesn't have an answer for that. And he's like, you know what? Let me just go deal with that stupid shit before I deal with your stupid shit. And he gets up and leaves.
Yeah. Well, Ian, like, he, like, savors that for a moment, being
Mhm.
like, yeah, we're a couple. And then he was like, wait, remembering we're a couple that hides. And then isn't Mickey like, hey, it's working out so far so good? Like, he's trying to
Yeah.
reason with him. And then Ian's like, I'm kind of sick of it. It's like, girl.
Although I will analyze this when we get to, like, the actual scene later, but, like, Ian's frustration with being a mistress, like, there's so much there.
There is a lot there, and then it's also like you can kind of understand it because not just like the mania, but his past trauma. But then you're like, Ian, can you have one fucking like no, he can't have any empathy because he's manic. He doesn't.
Yeah.
Like it's
He's
not.
not
it's
in
not
his
working
right
that
mind.
way, right? And it's I feel like
Yeah.
if Ian nowadays or Ian on his meds or just whatever would totally, I feel like
Yeah.
be a little more
Stable
accommodating.
Ian.
Yeah, stabilized Ian would be very accommodating.
And then we go to Lip's dorm. Amanda has been watching Liam while Lip is at work because she's nice. And she's also looking up for his grades, but they haven't been posted yet. And there's really brilliant framing here with the camera of the playpen while Amanda slides off of Lip's bed and gets on her knees to blow Lip. Like, the framing just works out really well with Liam just asleep
Yeah,
on the
because
other
it's
bed.
like not only does it hide the fact that they don't have to do like any actual nudity, but it is this kind of funny joke of like, there's a kid in here, like it's like right in our faces.
Yeah, there's literally a child in here. Liam's been subjected to this shit so much.
And I like that he goes to take his hairnet off because he came right from work. And she's like, no, keep that on. I'm on my knees. You have a hairnet on. Even playing field here.
But it's like, girl, you being on your knees is just a matter of like convenience.
But so he says while she's down there that he can't make dinner with her parents like he'd promised because he has to get some more hours to help keep the lights on at home. And she gets pissed off and says that he is not a man of his word and, like, storms out of the room.
I love that.
Right? Well, it's like, girl, you're literally taking care of his little brother right now. Like, you are witnessing
He
this
literally is
struggle.
trying not to get his power shut off. Like, there's not, like, she didn't have any consideration for him literally having to house a bunch of minors when he's away at school.
Yeah, no. And I don't understand how they didn't arrive at that conclusion sooner of like, do you want to piss off my parents? I should take them to what your house really looks like. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they eventually arrived to that conclusion of like, oh, we'll just not, like, I wasn't supposed to put on airs anyway, and in fact, my life is kind of a shit show. We should totally have them around. Why did they not arrive there earlier? They're
Listen.
both smart.
I guess, with everything going on, it makes sense why he just didn't want to invite them to the house, because, like, why would they go to her partner's house?
I guess, yeah, extra
But
stress.
but they intentionally go
Yeah.
there instead of going to, like, a restaurant because they're like, ooh, we can work this into things. But, like, homegirl, you are watching Liam right now. Like, where was he supposed
Yeah.
to go when you guys were going to go to dinner? Like,
Oh no, didn't he make a joke about that? He was like, we'll tell your parents that
oh,
Liam's my
yeah.
kid."
I forgot about that.
Yeah. They were totally going to bring Liam. So at school, Debbie is dealing with the stupid, horrible girls again. And then we meet
Woo!
Henry, an actual age-appropriate crush for Debbie to have. And she gets all flustered when he looks over at her and he knows her name. And yeah, that is the kid from Euphoria that did the holding out for a hero dance. Yes, it
That
is.
is
I
the
went and Googled his name. The actor is Austin Abrams. He is a phenomenal man.
He also played the hacker Adderall kid in Silicon Valley, the kid who he basically his thing was he was talked up to be this amazing hacker coder, and then the team found out that he didn't hack Bank of America. He was interning for them and accidentally screwed up a line of code that took down their whole server. And then just kind of leaned into that whole
That's
thing.
so funny. He also he was in Walking Dead too. He's the reason why Carl got his eye blown out.
I heard about that too. They were like,
Oh, shit.
fucking Ethan
No,
from
that scene
Euphoria.
was so funny. Rick literally said fuck him and then made him get eaten by zombies. It was really funny. I didn't watch it. I just Googled it, but Austin Abrams, great character.
He was also in This Is Us. He plays like the abusive boyfriend in This Is Us of the one character. But also shout out to this kid for playing a high schooler in 2014 and playing a high school in 2022.
I Googled, so he's 24. He's 24, so he was...
Yeah, it's like, no, he was actually of age to play a high schooler. Like, it's not like it was weird the way it was when they had Debbie dating Neil.
Yeah, no, he looks like a high schooler in this. He's not a 24-year-old as of now playing a high schooler on Euphoria.
Right. Wait, okay, actually, quick question. How old was Zach Perlman when he played Neil and him and Debbie were dating?
That's a good question.
Do you guys?
I have no idea who that is.
I don't think,
I have no
Amanda,
idea
I
who
don't
that
think you
is.
got to that plot line, but I wonder how
I mean,
old
Noel was in his mid-20s when acting with a 16-year-old Cam.
That's true.
Yeah.
Right? Well, and that's why they didn't have them kiss or anything, but it's like, dang, that was like, it's kind of weird the way teenage casting works like that.
But anywho, so that little shit from Euphoria is flirting with Debbie, and that's gonna develop in this episode. Sheila comes to visit Frank at the hospital. Sheila is still fully insane. She got
Love
the
her.
kids, has the kids with her, brings them to the hospital, just a whole fucking gaggle of kids.
I love
There's
it.
like
She's
6
in her-
of them, right?
Yeah. She's in her unhinged era, and that's the best way to watch Joan Cusack work. I love that for her.
Isn't there a scene at some point, maybe in the next episode, where she's actually at the reservation
Yeah.
talking to
I
the
think
adoption
it's...
counselor? Okay, that might be the
yeah,
next
I think you're
episode.
right.
Because I was like, we did not see the actual adoption process.
She gets all up in Frank's face and even like climbs up on the bed to try to wake him up, and Sammy has to be the one to be like, no. Like when
No, 'cause-
Sammy is the rational voice in the room.
Because she gets on top, she's like, Frank, we have some business to get up to.
She's kind of
No,
like
she's trying to
grinding on
like
him in front of all
fuck.
these
And
kids.
Sheila's like that.
And Sammy's like,
There's
girl.
children here. And then
And
Emily, isn't she like also like peeping in, or is this?
Oh yeah, Emily and her mom are sitting
she
there.
very abruptly
He,
like
removes the
she,
curtain.
yeah, her and her mom, she very abruptly like pulls the curtain aside and like puts her little 2 cents in about whatever they're talking
And
about.
Emily's mom is like, I'm sorry, I don't mean to eavesdrop. It's just, that's a curtain. Like, it's not a wall. But the kids are adorable, especially that one little girl.
Oh my god.
They
the little
suggest
girl.
doing a dance, a Native American dance that they learned at school, like for healing to help Frank wake up. And Emily's like, I wish I could go to school.
It's so sad, but it's also like, girl, keep that to yourself.
Like,
Like, why are you just like saying shit?
How old is
Oh.
she? Like 10?
I think she's like 8 or 9.
she probably
maybe.
hasn't hung out with a lot of kids her age.
No, yeah, it is really sad. But the way she says it, it's like, who asked you?
She like is like, I wish I could go to school.
I wish I could go to school. I think we all sing.
And then we go over to Mickey walking up to the church where Yevgeny is being christened. His brother and his uncle, I think it might be like Iggy and an uncle, are hanging up a banner welcoming Terry home from prison, and he goes, sign looks like shit. And they're like, it's been used a lot.
I miss Iggy.
I miss Iggy.
What do you guys think he's up to?
Probably
Not the
still on
not
Twitter.
the actor, the character.
Oh, Iggy?
Oh, dead.
What do you think he's up to? Chilling?
Dead.
Probably dead.
Prison.
You're right.
Prison.
And then we get the iconic shot of Mickey walks in the door of the church. And that iconic fucking shot of that cathedral stained glass of him walking up the aisle, that like purple hued cathedral stained glass. Oh, it's so fucking
One
gorgeous.
of the most colorful
This shit
scenes.
is like a movie.
Him in that pressed black shirt.
Yeah. Tucked into the dark jeans, and like it's just the purple stained glass, like, oh god, it's so
he
good.
struts, he's like
And the way
walking
he
with
moves.
swag.
He got that little bow-legged walk. I love it. I
His
think about this
waddle.
shot all the fucking time. I think about it every day. Mickey says, he's like, why the fuck haven't we started yet? Because Svetlana is waiting up with the priest, and he's like, oh, is that who we're waiting for? She's like, no, it's my piece of shit husband. And Mickey's like, get the christening started. Terry's not going to give a shit. We don't have to wait for him to get here. And she goes, no, he gives shit. He tells me. And then we find out Svetlana talks to Terry every day.
And you can see that look on Mickey's face.
Oh, yeah,
He's
she's
like,
we
"What?"
talk often, we become quite close.
And he goes, oh god, are you going to start fucking him again too?
Yes.
And the priest is like, I'm really sorry. We have to start. I have a funeral soon. Like, we have to. And she goes, no, we must wait. Whole family must be here for baptism. And Mickey goes, or what? It didn't really happen?
She said to witness baptism. Yeah, she's like, the whole family must be here to witness baptism. And he goes, or what? It didn't really happen?
Nolan and Isadora work so well together. It's so beautiful.
He is a goddamn cartoon character.
And then we hear the church doors open, and Svet's like, oh, see, it's good we wait. But it's not Terry, it's Ian. Ian, who is expressly told not to come, has come strutting into the christening.
She's like, what is he doing here? And Mickey's like, I don't fucking know. She was like, I told him not to come.
Well, it's also like the mania, like he's so overconfident. He's like, there is no way that this could go bad at all.
Yeah. Or he's like,
right.
let it go bad, let it explode,
He's too angry to even care.
And they do the baptism while Mickey like stands up there with his arms crossed. He can't look at Svetlana. He can't look at the baby, but he keeps glancing over to Ian just to like check on him because like, why the fuck are you here? And I like this note that you put.
I feel like this is an appropriate time to remind everyone that Mickey is supposed to be 19 and Ian is 17. Like, they are babies themselves going through very adult situations. Like, I'm old. I'm
21
now.
and I'm like, what
almost
the
20
fuck?
and I'm like, I can't even imagine going through what he's going through right now.
Yeah. And like Noel's really consistent with the way he interacts with the baby. Mickey can't look at this kid. It's too much trauma. It's too much.
His back is always turned to Svetlana when she's holding that baby.
Yeah.
I also wonder, like, okay, they do kind of raise this question of, like, is Yevgeny actually Mickey's kid, or is he Terry's kid, or someone else entirely? Mm-hmm. I do wonder if, like, maybe the baby looks too much like Terry for him. Because the baby the baby's pretty blonde.
And because earlier too, when Ian asked like Mickey, I thought you didn't give a shit about the christening. Mickey goes, "It's my son, man." Like he can't look at him, but he feels that sense of responsibility. Like he's got to be there. He feels it, even though he like can't rationalize it to himself.
And he doesn't even, like, obviously, like, this is jumping ahead. He, like, doesn't even hold the baby until, like, a couple episodes into season 5.
No, he holds the baby in this episode.
Oh, I'm so stupid. I totally forgot he does.
That's because Svetlana kind of threatens him and, like, dumps him.
He holds the baby in this episode.
I know, I literally spaced out. I totally forgot that one scene. Because I was thinking about, like, this one conversation they have, and I was like, wait, no, he holds him at the christening.
Yeah.
In this exact
No, but,
scene.
like, it makes the evolution of, like, the episode you're thinking of in season 5, it makes it so much more, because right now, he can't look at the kid. He doesn't want to. He can't be in the same room. He'd like to turn and run the other way. But, like, and then the way he grows, it's fucking beautiful.
A lot of that because of Ian coming to live with them and helping take care of the baby.
The real first throuple was Mickey, Ian, and Svetlana. Thank you very much.
So like that,
true, except she wasn't involved in their love life. She was like, I'm bestie.
She was just the baby mama.
So like that tension is growing and growing and growing, and something very intense is happening there. And now it's time for some fucking chaos. Carl and Bonnie are robbing a vending machine at school.
I never thought about using a freaking tape measure to do that. That is so damn smart.
Right.
Just like hooking it around. I'm not gonna use it, but
that,
I was like,
they
damn.
have that like fail stop for people's arms.
Yeah.
You can't stick your arm through.
Tape measure is smart. A yardstick. Oh no, because yardstick you can't bend, but a tape measure you can bend. So she says she needs to go back to the van her family's in and take care of her one of her siblings is sick.
It has
and
like
Carl's
bronchitis, and I was like, that's a child. They need to go to the hospital.
And Carl says
No way.
they should just move in with him. And she hugs him and says thank you, and he gets a boner because he's a teenage boy. You can just be near someone and
No,
boner.
that was so funny. She hugs him and she's like, Carl, and he just looks down. He's like,
You like?
yeah. He's like, yeah. Like all smug about it. It's like, dude, you can't even say sorry.
And then also in school, Debbie is in science class with the Euphoria kid.
that's so the Euphoria guy.
Her horrible friends can't stomach the frog dissection, which, like, fair, I skipped class that day. I did not go that day.
I didn't even get that. I was so mad.
I had to dissect a pig instead.
We
Oof.
dissected it
fetal pig.
online.
But Holly invites the Euphoria guy over to her place to watch porn. And he says, I don't like porn. And Debbie says, neither does she. And then they mock porn by making loud porn sounds in the middle of their science class.
Yeah.
Where's
They're like,
the teacher?
Oh, yeah.
Just, like, around. Yeah, they're like, oh, the sounds are like so corny.
Give it to me. Yeah.
But it's like, okay, who does that? Just like invites their crush over and just like, do you want to come over and watch porn?
I've never casually watched porn. Like,
no, like I think it
What?
would be better if she just said, "Do you want to come over and hook
yeah,
up?"
not watch
Yeah,
porn.
Like that would make more sense to me. But it's like the watching porn of it all. It's like, yeah, because there's
I'll set up my projector and we can pop some popcorn.
it's a movie, girl.
And then we go back to Fiona. She's still on the bus, still on the way to prison. It's been at least a 3-hour bus ride. She gets off the bus and is brought inside, and we cut away again. Like, just little glimpses.
Cold as hell. She looks miserable.
So over to college, Lip comes to Amanda's probability class with Liam, interrupts the lecture, and he, like, walks in through, like, the front of the class, interrupts the lecture, and passes his address up to her through a couple of students.
Like, how does he, like, the way he enters, he's, like, on the stage where, like, the teacher's, like, presenting.
Like the back door to the lecture or something. No, I know how he probably could have got back there. Yeah.
But he tells Amanda, bring your parents to my house for dinner if you really want to torture them. Don't ever say I'm not a man of my word again.
Ooh.
Hot.
Isn't
It's hot.
He's holding a trash bag with
Oh,
food.
he even says he was like, we'll be serving lasagna.
He's like, we're having cafeteria lasagna, and he's got a trash bag with the serving pans in it.
Yeah, he
from
does.
that morning.
Liam in one arm, the trash bag full of stolen cafeteria food in a trash bag.
What a man.
And he's like, don't ever say I'm not a man of my word again. Hot. It's hot, Jeremy. It's some hot shit. To the hospital, Sammy and Sheila are doing a spiritual dance that the very cute little girl Sheila has adopted is teaching them. Sammy hates it.
It's
Emily
so
is
cute.
having a great time.
As she should.
And then Carl comes strolling in, and he's like, Frank isn't awake yet? They're like, yeah, they don't know what to do. And Carl's like, why don't you just do this? And he smacks Frank in the balls. And it works.
That was the craziest part. It fucking worked.
This is not the first time someone on Shameless has been woken up by having their genitals touched in a hospital
Yeah.
bed.
Oh, forgot about that one.
Bazinga.
Which was
No,
because it was so much. It's so
It was
weird
so
the
much-
way they do it
But
because
it was so much
both
worse.
people woke up. Both people woke up with childlike states of mind,
Yeah.
so that's so much worse.
Yeah.
I'm
I'm smart, but I'm stupid.
I'm
So
gay,
Frank
but I'm straight.
So Frank wakes up, he's confused. He thinks Sammy is Debbie. He thinks Sheila is his mom, and he thinks Carl is Lip. So a doctor comes in and examines him, and he takes the family outside. And he's like, Frank is experiencing post-op delirium. He's going to be confused about relationships for a little while, but it'll wear off and his brain will, like, correct itself and let
And that's
let
like
everybody know.
standard with like a lot of like anesthetics and waking up from like a
Yeah.
long
The anesthesia, and I think it's also because he woke up pretty prematurely, like, because Carl hit him. If he had woken up on his own, he probably would have just been a little disoriented, but maybe not as out of it as he is right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So back at school, Euphoria Kid is sketching Debbie in the library.
He's drawing her. He's an artist.
This part's so funny. Like, I hate Debbie. She's so awkward.
Like, when he shows her that stick figure and he's like, ta-da! And then he's like, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, but the part when she's sitting still for, like, a minute, and then she, like, looks her head one way, she goes, oh, crap, I moved. Did I ruin it? And I was like, what do you mean? Like, what do you mean you ruined it? It's not, like,
right? It's like, girl, this is a drawing.
Your face shape didn't change.
And so, like, they're flirting, and they're working at a time and place where he can kiss her. And, like, this right here, cute, dumb teenagers doing dumb, stupid fucking idiot stuff. I would have watched Debbie do this for 2 more seasons. Yeah. Like, this is the kind of shit that I love.
They changed her personality just, like, a little bit. But I would have enjoyed seeing Debbie be an actual teenager.
It's cringe, but it is so sweet. It's like, aw, like that whole middle school, high school thing when you're like, can I kiss you after school today?
Yeah. It's cringe and it's terrible in, like, they're idiots, like, in that way. And I love that. All right, back to the christening. Kev is kissing Mickey's fucking ass at the Alibi, making up a plate for him. And Mickey's like, what the fuck are you doing? And Kev is like, I'm just trying to mend fences here. And Mickey's like, me and you, we got some shit to settle. And Kev is like, no, I've decided we're cool now.
I love it because he's just, like, making his plate for him, and Mickey's just, like, giving him the most, like, evil look ever.
Like, I can get my own fucking food. But, like, if you're so even, give Mickey the money back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's like, he gave away his guns. He's trying to be peaceful now. He's trying to stay out of conflict. He's like, so sorry. He realized he fucked up. He's like, let me make nice with Mickey now. Goodbye. And so Svetlana comes up to Mickey and says, tell your boyfriend to leave. And he's like, what the fuck are you talking about? And she looks over her shoulder, and there's Ian sitting at the bar. And she's like, tell him to leave or I will. And so he goes over and he asks Ian to leave. And so he goes over to Ian and he tells Ian to go. And Ian asks, do you want me to go? And Mickey says, no, I don't want you to go. But the whole thing is going to go a whole lot easier if you do. And I want to take a minute just right here before we get into the heavy hitter shit that, like, I want to point something out in this episode. Multiple times in this episode, Ian asks Mickey point blank questions about them and their relationship that Mickey answers with no fucking hesitation. Are we a couple? Of course we are. Do you want me to go? No, I don't want you to go. I'm not lying to you. Like, it's the way that it's like boom, 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 boom. It's building such a foundation of, like, they have trust. They are together. They are solid. And it's building such a foundation for a big payoff moment of, like, they know what they are. They are finally on even footing. It's just a matter of, like, the rest of the world doesn't get to know what they are. And, like, the way that tension builds. And it's like, it makes them solid. And that makes the payoff at the end of this episode so much more fulfilling. Because it's like, you know that they're there. You know that they're right there with each other.
Right, because in seasons past, there was this sort of, like, question hanging over of, like, they've never talked about their relationship. They're not official in any capacity, but they're establishing here that they are, like, the real deal. It's more just, like, they have to protect themselves first.
Yeah, like, this isn't Mickey being an asshole just to be an asshole. It's Mickey over and over again going, like, you are important to me. I want you here. But because of XYZ, we can't. Because of this reason, we can't. Because of this obstacle, we can't. But he's like, but I want to, and I want this, and I want you, and
because he wants to be alive while also still getting to enjoy those things.
It's just 4 seasons. This episode is the payoff of 4 seasons of momentum, and this moment is the concrete drying, and the climax later is the first big moment where they plant their feet and they go, like, I'm not going fucking anywhere. It's excellent. It's fucking excellent. And so, sorry about the tangent, but Ian tells Mickey.
That's what this is for.
Ian tells Mickey that, like, yeah, this is where I want to spend my day off because Mickey is here. And Ian's like, if you make me leave, don't come back to the house. And he asks, I'm sick of living a lie, aren't you? And Mickey says, I'm not lying to you, because lying to Ian is the only thing that matters to him. And Ian says, everyone else? And Mickey says, who gives a shit about everyone else? What fucking difference does it make if I lie to them? And Ian mania in his eyes, screams, because you're not free. And Mickey, the calmest we've ever seen him approach Ian, the softest and calmest, goes, Ian, what you and I have makes me free. Not what these assholes know.
Mic drop.
That was crazy. Well, and it is reminiscent of the way he acted towards him when Ian pulled that knife on Kenyatta. Like, he is kind of understanding that Ian has reached up to an edge, and he's like trying to kind of talk him down from this edge, because I feel like in Mickey's mind, he's worried like Ian is getting so bent out of shape and so frantic that he could possibly say something that could put them both in danger, because now Terry is there. And so if Terry overhears any of this, I mean, it's the end.
Yeah.
Him.
And like you could tell there's like almost a breaking point in that moment where they get close to each other and they're looking in each other's eyes, and Ian's face kind of turns desperate and pleading, and then Terry walks in. And Mickey like a rubber band, snaps away from Ian and goes running over to Yevgeny and Svetlana. And like he grabs the baby, and she goes, "Oh, look at," like running
Scared
back
little
to
boy
daddy.
running to daddy, and he goes, "Eat me, eat me." Okay.
And like so he presents the baby to Terry, and they have like a whole family moment, and they like do shots, and then Kev comes in and like taps Ian, gives Ian a little drink, and lets Ian wipe away his tears, and he gives him a little wink, because this himbo knows! This himbo has cracked the code!
It's just so much more heartbreaking sometimes, because it's like, he did this to keep Ian safe.
Yeah.
No part of him wants to act this way, act all nicey nice with Terry with the baby, and hang around Svetlana. It's like, no part of him wants to do that. And he's not even doing it to keep himself safe, because he puts himself in danger all the time.
That's why it's in this episode. It isn't until Ian is ready to explode it that he goes like, fuck it. Because, he's doing it all to keep Ian safe, but Ian is going to be reckless on his own.
If Ian's going to fuck it up for himself anyway, if he's going to bring it upon himself anyway, then Mickey might as well be there to like help pick up the pieces.
Yeah. But before it all hits a fever pitch, we go to the Gallagher house. Lip brings home Liam and dinner and takes a selfie with the cute little smiling Liam and texts Fiona, who is in prison.
I think he's trying to email her. I think he's like sending her an email on his phone. But I love how he leaves the message with like, "Don't drop the soap."
Yeah, and he asks like, "Hey Liam, anything you want to say to her?" He goes, "Fiona, pee. Like,
so cute. But
I mean, yeah, the texting, either it's an email or maybe he's like just been sending them every couple of days so that when she gets out, she can look back on them and be like, "Oh, you like kind of kept a record for me." Like,
yeah,
know what I mean? Like a scrapbook of sorts.
Yeah.
And so he puts Liam down and he puts dinner in the oven to heat up, and he goes to look at his grades, but only one of them is posted and it's a C, and he gets like a little visibly deflated.
Colleges are so like that. They post them all at different times. Yeah, isn't it established that he needs a B average to keep his
scholarship?
But he already knows that he thinks he's going to get 2 A's.
No, he doesn't think, because
he doesn't think that. She thinks that. He doesn't think that.
Amanda thinks he's going to.
And she's like, "No, you'll at least get like, yeah.
So back at school, Debbie is making out with the Euphoria kid under the stairs, and he tries to take things further, but she puts a stop to it. And then he's like, "Well, what if I take you to the dance?" And he asks her to the dance, and then he takes her shirt off.
Well, while she's kind of like glowing over that, like distracted, then he just kind of like pushes her shirt off to the side, and she doesn't say anything because she's like so swept up in the moment. But it's like, that's so bad.
Boom! There's a stairwell full of kids taking Debbie's picture.
Just flashing lights.
Euphoria kid is Seema's stepbrother.
That is something that would
happen
in Euphoria.
She was like, why would you do this? And he goes, I don't know, Seema gave me $50.
Seema gave me $50.
Ugh, not holding out for this hero. Absolutely not.
And then Seema's there too. This is a college student at this high school making fun of a 12-year-old girl.
No, because she took it so too far. And Maddie even says that. Maddie's like, no, what Seema did was
that adult
beyond.
Initiated basically an assault of a child. So 911.
Right, like it would be different if she was like, stop fucking with me and my boyfriend. Like, threatened her, whatever, did all that stuff.
No, she made her brother touch her.
Well, after she showed up with the baseball bat, Debbie was kind of like, okay, she's serious, I'm backing off. Like, she didn't really try anything else.
Debbie's a mind her own business.
She could tell Maddie to stop talking to Debbie, like, all that stuff. But No, she decided to have people take pictures of this girl half naked.
Yeah.
Yeah,
She was
no
supposed to
way.
be the adult
Freak.
here.
Matt
Yeah.
does come around, obviously, like, we'll learn, but, like,
Well, he's like, that was over the line. Like, I broke up with her.
fucked
Yeah.
up.
And we'll adjust that later, but yeah. So Lip is peeing at home when all of a sudden every single one of Bonnie's siblings come bounding into his living room, causing a ruckus. And Bonnie climbs into the laundry chute until Lip comes up and's like, yeah, no, pull her out of there. What the fuck are you doing?
Carl has her, like, dangling by her ankles.
That is so funny because Carl's gone down that chute multiple times.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so he's like, yeah, no, it's like really fun. You should try it.
And Lip asks Carl, he's like, hey, who are these fucking kids in the living room? And Carl just goes, they live in a van and it's the winter. And like the thing about Carl is that he does have a good heart and he tries to do the right thing. He's just a fucking idiot.
Oh, yeah.
And so Lip says that the kids can stay until dinner, but then they need to go.
Yeah, and I mean, like, okay, to be honest, with how the Gallaghers are and how they've been, if it was any other day, I feel like Lip wouldn't have cared. Because
Yeah.
it's not like they're messing stuff up or like eating their food or whatever. Like, it just so happens that some very important people are showing up. But then again, it's like, why did you not arrive to this conclusion earlier that it's better for them to be there for what you're trying to
Yeah.
accomplish? It's not
Yeah.
like he's actually trying to impress
Like,
these
it takes
people.
them so
gets
long
there.
to realize what they should do.
Like, that this is good. Yeah.
And there's a knock at the door, and but it does register with him almost immediately because there's a knock at the door, and he's like, "Oh, you know what? Everybody, be loud and annoying, and do whatever
Hey,
the
be
fuck you
loud."
want." And he opens the door, and it's DCSF. Ooh.
Yeah, and then doesn't he turn around? He's like, hey, stop doing that. And they're like, you said we could do whatever we want. He's like, and now I'm telling you to stop.
Yeah. Yep.
In prison, Fiona is getting assigned her bunk, and like she gets her stuff, and she says thank you, and they're like, she gets mocked for it.
I think like the prison guard, she was like, you haven't laid on the, don't thank me yet, you haven't tried the bed yet, and then the whole
Yeah,
crowd
that's what
goes,
she said.
ooh.
Because it was just a knee-jerk, like, someone hands you a thing, you say thank you reaction, and they're like, brown noser.
Yeah.
And she sees a small fight a couple of bunks away, and, like, watches it, but keeps her head down and keeps to herself and tries to just, like, stay in her own lane. And then back at the hospital, Frank is still really confused. He still thinks Sheila is his mom, and she is being sexual and weird with him anyway.
This part is what
Well,
I was
doesn't she
thinking
say
about.
like he's like mom, and then she goes, oh, I forgot I was mom.
Yeah.
And yeah.
She's
She
like-
was
she's
like, oh, I
like,
forgot it was
"Oh,
mine."
wait.
And then he was like, wait till we get home. And then
Yeah,
Sheila
she
makes a
kisses him.
face.
She gives him a big old kiss, and he goes, Mom, stop, we're in public. Wait till we get home. Pardon?
And then Sheila's face is like, when he
Sheila's
says
like,
like, wait till we get home, she's like,
okay.
wait a second.
Like, Frank, do we have some childhood sex abuse trauma we need to unpack? No, we're just not going to address it? All right,
And then,
okay.
No, you're not.
It was played for laughs.
Just like every sexual assault in Shameless is, I'll laugh.
So DCFS is doing the walkthrough of the house. They're finding loose stairs, exposed nails, places that need a fire alarm. And she's being very matter of fact, or not, and not overly critical. She's just like, here are the little things. And she tells him the amount of kids he's currently babysitting is considered a daycare, and to have a daycare you need a license, and he doesn't have a license, so get a license or babysit less kids.
So what do you call a freaking birthday party then? What, do you have to
Well,
have a
but it's
fucking
'cause
license?
There's usually other parents there.
Yeah,
True.
he's the only adult there, and it seems like their tenure there is a little longer than a couple hours.
Yeah.
She's like, so get a license or babysit less kids.
Also, it is like, I think Bonnie has like 7 siblings, so there's a total of, I want to say, over 12 kids in that house at this point.
Jesus.
And so she asks where Frank and Fiona are, and like, there isn't a record of Fiona being in prison?
Yeah, I'm surprised DCFS wasn't flagged immediately when Fiona was arrested.
Well, I am like, it's the next day, so maybe like their communication is pretty slow, or
Maybe.
maybe.
But I'm
Shameless
like,
is
legal
like-
guardian of 5
Shameless is like,
people gets
they
incarcerated.
don't communicate actually.
Like, that would be why DCFS is there, because the legal guardian was incarcerated.
Yeah, but like
Right.
they haven't. But she doesn't even bring. But then she's like, "So where is she? Like, homegirl, you should know. Did you
Right.
not
Well,
get the facts?"
And they've been lying about Frank the whole time.
Oh, yeah.
So.
And so Lip lies
but they
again.
do know that Monica's out of the house.
Yeah, Lip lies again and just says they're at work. And then comes in Amanda's parents. She's adopted. Her parents are rich white people.
The way she
And-
said that, though, she was like, "If you can't tell, They're white.
They bought me from a brothel. Like, and so Lip introduces himself and all of the van kids and the DCFS worker. And he's like, come in the kitchen and eat. It's like, these are all these kids. They live in a van. That's DCFS. He's got
cafeteria lasagna to feed everybody. He's kind of lucky for that one.
That sounds kind of good.
All right. And then we go to the hospital and pretty deep breath because it's a big Emily moment. Frank wakes up again. It's a quiet room. He looks over at Emily and he thinks she's Fiona. And they're both really sleepy and out of it. And he apologizes for leaving Fiona and Lip in the park while he and Monica got high. He's like, how long was I out there? You must have been really cold. I promise I'm going to be a better dad. And Emily, who we established does not have a dad, says it's okay. And she's not mad. So, like...
Sorry, he thinks that... okay, I'm just like, I know that, like, the post-op delirium doesn't quite totally make sense. Like, I get that. But it's like, if he thinks Sammy is Debbie, so he's imagining Sammy as a very young child, and he also thinks that Emily as Fiona is the age that Emily actually is.
I mean, when he sees Emily as Fiona, no one else is in the room, so it could just be like open his eyes first association thing. Yeah.
It's like a new hallucination.
It's the first dark-haired person around him, and that's who he immediately thinks of besides waking up around like
he
six people.
He sees Carl as Lip, but then that age kind of makes sense. But it's like the Sammy as Debbie is really just what throws me off.
Yeah. I think it's just female figure right next to him is probably the first thing he thought.
But he's imagining her as a child.
But like again, I think it's like loud moment. All the family in front of him goes to sleep, wakes up again, just sees Emily laying beside him.
And it's a new no. I see that.
And he tells her he'll take her to Claire's tomorrow to get her ears pierced. And he's happy that she is in there with him. And she goes, "Me too, Daddy."
She says "me too," and it's like a pause, and then she says "Daddy," and it's just.
And they hold hands. They like reach out hands and they hold hands. Ah! It hurts.
And that hand holding hurts all the more.
Bill Macy works really, really well with really small children.
He really does. Like, freaking shout out to him and Franny's episode, like, in the last season. Like, the Shameless's actual last season. But, like, damn, him and kids really do put in all the work. His early scenes with Debbie. Oh.
Yeah. His scenes with Liam, his scenes with Carl.
He just has, like, good grandpa energy, I feel like.
Yeah.
He does.
Him and Joe Goodman, it's like, I got you, bitches.
And then we go to the alibi, and it's time. It's time, everybody. So Terry is raving about something homophobic that happened to him in prison. And Svet sits next to Mickey and goes, "Speaking of queers," and she dangles the idea of outing Mickey to his dad again, and Mickey fucking snaps. He's had enough. He gets up, slams her drink on the table, and tells her, "Keep your fucking mouth shut." Ian cuts in for a second so that we know when Mickey is done with Svetlana, he has to go to talk to Ian. But he turns back to Svetlana and he goes, "You know, your life right here is as good as it's ever gonna get. You gotta go get plowed all day, yeah, but you come home to a roof over your head and food in your fucking belly. 5 years from now, you're gonna be a used up, dried up old whore sucking guys off on the sidewalk for $5 a pop. I wouldn't fuck this up if I were you."
Ooh.
But he was wrong.
Dinger.
He was wrong about her.
But, like, that moment...
That is not where she ends up.
The fact that Noel did not get a nomination for this episode makes me so fucking angry. It's excellent. This episode is everything to me.
I honestly hope in the future that he gets a role that allows him to do legit work.
Yeah.
Know what I mean? I feel like everything he's done since Shameless has been kind of, like...
Stupid.
A little two-dimensional.
Amanda, you had to say it.
Stupid. Everything he's done since Shameless End has been fucking stupid.
But then it is like... Okay, girl, that's just what you like.
But then he goes over to Ian, who lets Mickey know he's leaving. Money, cars, fame. Just in the background of this whole scene. And Ian says, "We're done." He doesn't have any interest in being a mistress anymore. And the amount of shit to unpack in that fucking sentence right there. Ian does not want to be a mistress at every relationship he's ever had. He's been a mistress. He's been a dirty little secret about a married man.
That hurts.
Yeah. And
That
so
does hurt.
It
It's
hurts.
like, ooh,
it
ouch,
hurts so
ouch,
much.
ouch, ouch.
And he gets in
ooh.
Mickey's face and he goes, "You think you're a tough man? You're not. You're a coward." They're like nose to nose. And Mickey still has the nerve to say that Ian doesn't understand any of this at all. But Ian's like, "Fuck you." And the mania rage is making him confident, but like it fucking works for him.
Well, he understands, but he doesn't.
Yeah, like
he understands, but it's not getting through his head.
Yeah, but he gets in Mickey's face and he goes, "I understand better than anyone," which he kind of does. He says, "You're afraid of your father. You're afraid of your wife. You're afraid to be who you are."
He's like all up in his face, like touching his chest too.
Yeah. And he gets his little coat. And he goes to walk out the door and Mickey says, "Good, leave. Hell do I care, bitch." Yes, I did write a fan fiction called 20 Seconds because what the hell do I care, bitch? And Ian starts walking towards the door. 20 seconds
doesn't even
pass.
look back.
Yeah. 20 seconds pass. It's 20 seconds of Ian walking to the door. It's 20 seconds of Mickey seeing Ian walk away from him again. It's 20 seconds of the small semblance of peace that Mickey had clawed his way toward, slipping through his fingers. And Noel tells us Mickey's entire emotional journey in his face, through the tears he almost sheds but doesn't, and the worrying of his lip, and the panic in his eyes, and then the 20 seconds are up, and Mickey has made his decision. Like, it's
Money.
20 fucking seconds, and it
Cars.
gets me. Fame. He bangs on the bar, and he gets everyone's attention, and the bar goes quiet, the music goes off, and Mickey stands in front of everyone, in front of Ian Gallagher, almost out the door, out of his life again, and he stands in front of his biggest fear that is Terry fucking Milkovich, and he says, "I just want everyone here to know I'm fucking gay. Big ol' Mo. Just thought everyone here should know that." And it goes quiet, and then the music starts again, and Ian is stunned, and he closes the door to the bar, and he just stands there, and Mickey goes, "You happy now?"
It's like, because the world just keeps turning. Like
it stops, but guess what? It kept on continuing.
It kept going.
Right? Well, it's like I hate to say this because it sounds shitty, but it's like, Mickey, you're not special.
Yeah. But like he said it. He said the thing out loud. He confronted the fear. He said the thing. And for a second, everything's fine. Everything's fine.
And then
Terry reacts. He stands up, he flips the table, he goes running toward Mickey, but Mickey plants his feet and throws the first punch. He's ready for it, because he's not going to stand there and just take it this time.
Mm-hmm.
And Terry knocks him on his ass and starts wailing on him, but then Ian's there. And Ian goes, "I've been wanting to do this forever." And he pulls Terry off of Mickey and he jumps into the fight. And someone breaks a chair over Ian's back, and he's more pissed about getting hit than he is hurt from the hit.
Favorite thing about that scene, though, is that you can see the back pad on Cam's back for like cushion or protection from getting like the thing broken
from this breakaway chair. I mean, I've known this forever, but someone on Instagram, Minute by Minute, pointed this out to us on one of our posts just because we asked like what people want to hear us talk about. But yeah, it's so like every time I watch that scene, I'm like, I can't even like not look at it. It just pulls me out of the scene so hard. It pulls me out of the scene so hard sometimes, and then I'm like, no, girl, like you gotta get back in. You gotta suspend that belief.
Like, before that scene when he like does his like, remember the meme that came out of him just like screaming?
Yeah,
like I love that.
Yeah, he just turns in like a primal scream and attacks the uncle. Like he is in it. He is in it now.
He's like, I'm running, girl.
And a fight has broken out, and then the priest from the thing is getting his dick sucked in the back room, and he like pulls his robe up.
I think he's by the front door. I think he's just like by the front door.
He's by the stairs to go upstairs.
He's
by like the bathroom, because you have to go around a corner to get into the bathroom.
Yeah. So he pulls his thing up, and he's the one that ends up calling. He like asks the woman on her knees in front of him, "Hand me my phone," because it's like hooked to his ankle. And that gets us out of this scene of him calling the cops. And then we go back to the Gallagher house for a hot second. Maddie has pulled up, and Debbie is out back crying, seeing the pictures of her in her bra all over Instagram. And Maddie says he broke up with his girlfriend when he saw the pictures of Debbie, and he says boys are jackasses. And, like, it's nice that he came to comfort her and all, and yeah, what Seema did was fucked up and you should have dumped her, but also, Maddie, you shouldn't be here. The implications are bad, and you shouldn't be here. And Debbie keeps insisting she's not a kid. He's like, Seema was the adult, and you're the kid, and she shouldn't have done this. And Debbie's like, I'm not a kid!
Debbie, yes you are. Shut up, please.
Yeah.
I know. The one thing about this interaction, though, I get that there's, like, this implication that he came to... But he does sit and tell her to her face, you are a kid.
Yeah. And,
Seema
like,
was
again...
an adult.
It's nice. He's being nice. He tells her he'll take her to the dance, and he's being nice, but, like, it's the implication.
Middle school is gonna allow a fucking 20-year-old?
That was over the line with him telling about the kid, about being like, I'll take you to the dance. That was over the line. If he had just left it at, Seema did something bad, I broke up with her, you're a kid, I would have been like, okay.
Yeah. Be there and be like a big brother. Be a friend for her to lean on.
Stringing her along just a tiny bit.
Yeah. Okay, and we go back to we just needed a brief moment to let the fight happen and let time pass, and then we go back to the alibi. Terry and Mickey are being drug out of the alibi by police. I'm sure we've all watched this scene a million times, and it starts off with the uncle going, "Don't hit no cops, Terry! Don't hit no cops!"
Hit no cops! I could quote that whole scene literally like word for word, and fucking F word, get out of my house, you pole-smoking queer. Fuck you, don't worry about it.
Yeah, Terry's on one cop car yelling slurs at Mickey, telling him to get the fuck out of his house, and then Mickey is bent over another cop car going, "Fuck you, don't worry about it. I've been staying at Ian since you've been in the can, bitch. Guess what we been doing, daddy? We've been fucking." And Noel humps the front of the cop car. Incredible.
Well, because he's bent over with a guy behind him.
And he goes, "And I take it. He gives it to me good and hard, and I fucking like it."
Yeah.
He is a legend, icon, star,
Slayer,
Oscar winner, Emmy winner, Tony winner, SAG Award, BAFTA, I don't know.
Grammys, fucking everything. People's Choice, Kids' Choice, everything.
Two
Kids'
cops
Choice.
start dragging a kicking Terry. Also, shout out to Dennis Cochran. He's being very physical in these scenes, and it's really well done. He's like kicking and screaming and getting drugged past him by the cops. And Mickey goes, "Fuck you! I suck his dick! I fucking love it!" And he like kicks at him and he fights.
Terry's like roaring. He's like growling.
And it's like a callback to that whole scene where Ian's like, "Will you suck my dick whenever I want?" It's like, Mickey kept good on his promise. He was like, "Yeah, I did."
And the cop's like, "What the fuck is wrong with you, Terry? You've been out for 4 hours and you're starting to fight? You're breaking your probation." And Terry gets hauled in a car and driven away. And there's that one little shot that I think is improvised of Ian just flipping off the cop car as it drives by.
It's so funny. He's so mad. He's just like,
Ian is like, bitch. I do wonder like how Ian did not end up getting arrested for this fight either.
Yeah.
Because they were going to arrest Mickey. It's not like Mickey's on probation. Is it just because they were the two
how did
who
Ian walk away
it?
free? Homeboy literally looks like a murdered.
Yeah.
No, it was like Ian's got this broken ass nose, and he's like, I wasn't involved at all. Actually,
I was just standing
I did
there.
not throw a single punch.
Terry and Mickey were probably like still going at it when the cops showed up. That's probably why And then the cop arresting Mickey takes the cuffs off of him, and he's like, "You're free to go." And Mickey's like, "What?"
Mickey's
like,
so confused.
If I arrest you, it'll be a lot of paperwork. Keep me at the station all night. I'd rather go home to my husband, Carlos. Oh, wow. So, like, the fact that Mickey was a queer person standing up to his homophobic dad is making this cop look the other way. In other words, what Ian and Mickey have set him free.
Literally. Slayed.
Served.
Ate it up.
Nancy, Lisa, I owe you everything. Like, oh God, it's so good. It's like bite my fist good. In the Gallagher kitchen, they're finishing up dinner and telling Amanda's parents about Fiona and why she's in prison. And Amanda's mom doesn't want her dinner, so Lip grabs it and brings it into the living room for the social worker.
He's so funny. He's literally like, "Oh, do you mind? Do you mind if I steal that?" And then he like brings it over, and he's like, cafeteria lasagna, just if you wanted any.
He's like, "Wonder if you're hungry." Like, also, I'm surprised that the DCF lady is there for so damn long.
It was a whole home
She's
visit.
writing up a report. She's writing up a report to give to them so they know what to improve on. And then she's also writing a copy for herself.
Was she just like a normal scheduled one for just?
No,
like,
it was a
normal
surprise
kids?
visit.
It was a surprise visit, but she knew she was going to be there.
Gotcha.
It was a surprise visit for him, and he's like, anyway, we can reschedule. She's like, wouldn't be much of a surprise, would it? And so she clarifies, she's like, so all of these kids, they live in a van? And Lip's like, yeah. She's like, and you're taking care of them? He's like, vans are cold. It's winter. Yeah, I'm letting them stay here. And she's like,
so
most of the families I see are trying to dump kids and not collect more. So she like has fully softened to his cause.
Oh, remember Mama Kamala though?
Yeah. And she gives Lip her report and then tells him when the next surprise visit is going to be. So
like
he
2
won.
Saturdays from next or something like that.
Yeah,
and
she's like, and it looks like my next surprise visit will be 2 Saturdays from now. And then he's like, jaw drop.
He won. He won her over. He's doing a good job and he won. And then more good news. He goes into the kitchen and Amanda's like, you got an A and a B in 2 of your classes. So even with a C, he's keeping his average. He's not losing his scholarship.
Woo woo.
And upstairs, Carl is in Fiona's room on her bed with Bonnie, emailing her, stay in prison so I can keep your bed.
Him and Bonnie take like a cute little selfie together.
It's really cute. And so he turns off the light and he takes off his shirt and Bonnie tells him, I don't like sex. And so Carl puts his shirt back on. No contest, no questioning. Oh, she doesn't like sex. Puts the shirt back on.
Yeah, even if he's like, that's not even what I was going for, like, she doesn't want it off.
And then him and Lip have like a cute conversation about it, like afterward. I think like the next day.
Mm-hmm. And so they just cuddle instead, and it's really cute. It's really sweet. And downstairs, Amanda's parents are saying they want Lip to stop seeing Amanda. They offer him money, and he's like, I'll give you $10,000 cash right now. And Lip's like, you have $10,000 cash on you right now?
He was like, in
like
this
a
neighborhood?
And he's like, am I not supposed to?
But before Lip can give an answer, it's time for more Emily. Frank tries to get out of bed. He's gonna get him and Fiona something to eat.
And you see...
And then back at the house, it cuts like back and forth between Frank walking around the hospital and Lip and Amanda in the house. We go back to the house. Lip tells Amanda about the money. And she's like, did you take it? And he says he took it. And she seems genuinely pissed. And she takes her things and her parents and she leaves. Meanwhile, Frank is wandering around the hospital with his bag of brown pee and stares down a doctor who's got like a fudgy brownie on the table and like stares at it.
I'm surprised the doctors are just letting his ass walk around the hospital because he obviously is not in the position to just be out and about right now. And he's in like the cafeteria.
I mean, they probably didn't know because people walk around with their IVs and their catheters in all the time at the hospital. And so they were probably just like, but then the way they just look at him and Frank just like looks down at the brownie, he's like,
and they just hand it to him. And he
like
walks away.
He like makes eye contact with the doctor. He's like,
he takes the brownie, slaps his pee bag down, takes a bite of the brownie, and then like picks up a napkin instead of the plate, and then picks his pee bag back up and keeps moving.
And just like...
And then we go to Lip brushing his teeth when Amanda knocks on the front door. It was a scam! She had told Lip to hold out for more money, but he freaked out when he saw the cash and just took it.
I would too.
Yeah, isn't she like, they gave my BMX boyfriend in high school like $15K or something.
He's like, I didn't know he'd have it in cash.
Have it on him. Yeah.
And so she smiles and she leads him upstairs. So it was a scam. They're still together. It's very cute.
Yeah.
There's a moment earlier I forgot to mention when he finds out his grades where he kisses her and then he kind of like just like looks at her fondly after, and it's like, ooh. This is the moment where it's like he's actually kind of starting to fall for her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he actually really enjoys her. Back outside the Alibi, Ian and Mickey are sitting on cars just catching their breath, and one of Mickey's uncles walks by and goes, "Gay, huh?" and just walks away.
Played.
And Ian and Mickey swap a flask back and forth between each other, a prop that Cameron bought to set that day because he is a method actor little boy.
And he still has that flask. That was pointed out to me.
That was a Cam improvisation. He brought a flask with him and they're passing one back and forth. And it's nice. It keeps a little connection between them. And Mickey's like, I think I broke half a fucking tooth. And Ian says his ribs hurt. And then Ian, there's like a moment where Mickey like kind of settles and looks down and like you could see everything wash over him. And Ian goes, "So you're really out, huh?" And Mickey says, "Doesn't mean I'm gonna wear a fucking dress or anything." And Ian says, "No one asked you to. though you do have really nice legs. Whatever you do, don't think about season 7. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Evil, evil, evil.
Evil. And they laugh, and Ian's ribs hurt, and we take a second to see, like, the gravity of the night hit them both. And Ian goes over and kisses Mickey's forehead and, like, nudges him to move so that they can both... They're covered in blood.
Oh my
like,
god, they look
forehead.
disgusting.
That was improvised, reportedly. That was the last take of the night. And so the kiss on the forehead was improvised. Yeah. Mickey has this really weird sense of, like, it's, like, relief, but also mixed with, like, fear. Because not only is it like, what the fuck am I gonna do now? Because there's always this impending doom of, like, when Terry gets out of prison, but he's also relieved that he actually did it. Also, here is the scene where Sleep Forever by Portugal the Man starts playing. And as this podcast resident music snob, this band and this song have been on my playlist forever. I get so emotional. I probably cried to this song like 5 or 6 times.
Oh
it's beautiful. If you haven't listened to it in full with headphones in, like... It's the last song on their album called In the Mountain in the Clouds. And that whole album, the whole thing is just so melancholy, so layered. It's really good. And they're still making music, Portugal Man. So
my friend just saw them in concert the other night, actually, in DC.
They just released a new song. It's pretty good. It's very different from In the Mountain in the Clouds, but it's pretty vibey.
And yeah, like, that song is excellent. And it continues through, like, the whole end of the episode. Because at the hospital, Frank gets back in bed, but there's a commotion on the other side of the curtain where Emily's bed is. There's a code running, and the doctors call time of death, and they wheel her out of the room. And Frank, like, calls after her because he thinks it's Fiona. Like, he still thinks it's Fiona.
I feel so bad for him. Like, the pain that he must have genuinely felt. One of the only times I feel bad for Frank when he gets upset. And also, like, for me... made me think a lot about the series finale and that sort of thing. They didn't pull it off as well in the series finale, but
no.
Yeah.
The fact that this wasn't even the finale episode of the season and that they did way better of a final episode than their actual entire series.
I think that's because the actual finale of this season was meant to serve as, like, the aftermath episode.
Yeah, definitely.
And, like, it's Frank calling after a Fiona he thought just died in front of him, and then we cut to Fiona in prison. Like, just the editing choices of this. And we cut to Fiona in prison. She's using the toilet. She's showering around a bunch of people. Like, she is at her rock bottom.
She's miserable. She's her father's daughter.
Yep. And that's how the episode ends. Credit song continues, Portugal the Man. No after credit sequence, and, like, that is the soft landing of Emily. And that's Emily.
Damn.
Like, Jesus Christ. Huge. How was that not the season finale? Like, huge. That's Emily.
No, I think that having the season finale be what it was good to explore the aftermath of the events that happened in episode 11,
I think
I think that was important.
It definitely still worked well with it being such a big episode and not being the finale, and it still worked for it to just how Shameless does with, like, every other season, has, like, a really strong ending.
Going back to the series finale, episode 11 was killer.
Oh, yeah.
In the last season, and then the only thing was that episode 12 flopped. But I would say even again in season 7, like, episode 11 was killer.
Oh, yeah.
And episode 12...
was just like the calm after the storm.
Exactly. Exploring the aftermath. So I think that's, like, definitely a pattern.
It works well for, like, a show that's, like, continuous, obviously. But, like, especially with a show like Shameless, I'm like, so how many bombs are you gonna drop? Like, like, what are we trying to do here?
Yeah.
Oh, well, because they're bad with plot.
Yeah.
And, like, I love a good penultimate episode. This shit is so fucking good. And, like, I don't know what else we could say about Emily that we haven't said. This is the most analytical I feel like I've gotten all season, in the last couple of seasons, and it was so fun. It was so fun. I got so analytical in this one.
We didn't spend more time on I mean, we've only been recording for almost an hour and a half. I'm surprised we haven't been recording for 2 hours.
Yeah. Because Emily is a relatively short episode, I think. It's like
it is also, like, it's like, what do you say?
Yeah.
What can you say that hasn't already been said?
I think it's just, like, the episode itself is very fast. It's just the layers of what are happening in the scenes of what get you, because you have to overanalyze it, because you're like, it's deeper than this homeboy just coming out right now.
Yeah.
Or, like, it's deeper than Frank, like, having his, like, memory, like, fucked up and seeing his young child, like, daughter again in someone else.
Yeah. It's making Frank vulnerable. It's the payoff of 4 seasons of build-up of Ian and Mickey. It's whatever the fuck is happening with Debbie. Like,
it's a bittersweet episode.
It's Lip realizing he's doing okay. Like, he is doing okay in school. He's doing okay in a relationship. He's doing okay taking care of the kids. He's doing all right. They might be all right. Like,
there definitely are a lot of open ends within a lot of the characters, but I feel like this episode did do a lot to, like, kind of, like, wrap it up in some way to them to start, like, that new, like, because you know how, like, it always, like, the next season's, like, everyone's thriving and doing a new thing, so, like, they definitely wrapped it up for them to start to be season 5 and what they're gonna be and act like in season 5.
Yeah, they're recovering.
And so in the season 4 finale, Frank finally hears about his deathbed marriage. He finally finds out that he's married. The kids talk about visiting Fiona. She gets a visit from her parole officer. Frank gets told he has to stay sober. Sheila kicks Sammy out. Svet says that Mickey has to help with the baby or she'll kill Ian. Mickey yells, we're taking care of him here. He's family. Clever editing in that little trailer. Lip runs into Mandy at the diner and everything falls to shit.
Ay, ay, ay.
Like,
it's big.
Season 4, they knew what they were doing and it was like setting off. And then season 5 is like solid flop. Like,
it's so sad. And then
because season 5's beginning is so good.
Well, and that's like, and then season 6 is like flop, amazing.
Yeah.
In the
then
back
season
half.
7's like
Season 7's pretty decent all the way through, and then season 8 is like, I am also flopping.
And then season 9 is flop.
I am also flopping.
I am also flopping.
Season 10
season
is
10
like,
was entertaining.
It's like we're adjusting.
Season 10
but
to
like
me
we're
just
not
felt
at the
like,
top of our game.
Season 10 felt like, let's bring back all the fan favorites and act like it's season, like, it felt like season 1 again in a way. And then
honestly,
season
10 should have been it. They should have done season 11. It should have been it.
They ruined it with COVID, and I will forever say that.
Right? And like, what a fitting note to end on the wedding too. That was
I know. And like, even with the end credit scene, that still would be like such a good like tie up to the whole show.
Well, and there was supposed to be a whole cartel storyline with
that was dropped.
Season 10. It was dropped. There was supposed to be well, because Cameron broke his leg. I think that's the reason that was dropped.
Yeah, so then they had to write in him breaking his goddamn leg.
And then season 11, had it not been during the pandemic, I feel like they could have accomplished a lot more of what they were trying to do. But I do think season 10 ended on like
it sucks
a great
because
note.
You're right with pandemic stuff.
Yeah, I feel like if also it was at a point in the pandemic where I would have preferred them to not write it in because I would have been like, we are so depressed and stuck inside. And like why are you just reminding us of that?
I think I said this during some of the season 11 episodes.
Say,
I get why like Grey's Anatomy did it. I get why, but like Shameless is not a show that needed to do it.
Yeah, like
some
I
shows
get
just chose not to do it.
They want to stay topical. They want to stay political. I get that. I really wish they would have just said it, you know, right after the events of season 10. And then it would have just been like pre-pandemic. You know what I mean?
And like it's so true. Like what?
And also the way that Frank like died. It was like, guys, that was too on the nose.
It wasn't even a satisfying death in that many. If like saying anything, like
well, it was just sad because it was like, okay, Frank Gallagher has been through so much shit,
and you're gonna
like
cut him off like this.
Survived the most harrowing circumstances and injuries, and fucking COVID got him.
And I feel like Emily is like why we think of Emily when we think of the finale, or we think of the finale we think of Emily, because like they were so clearly trying to recreate the magic that they had in these Frank hospital scenes,
especially
in Emily,
with the hand
and they just
holding.
didn't get there. Yeah,
the parallels of like holding the hand as the person's passing away and stuff like that. Like it like shows that they tried so hard to like replicate it, but not good at all. It was not good at all.
Like lightning can't strike twice, babes. Like, but nothing takes away from the brilliance of Emily. Emily is such a good
Indeed.
fucking episode. I'm so happy we finally got to it.
I know.
That was awesome.
So let's, you know what? Let's not say any more. Let's save the rest of it for the finale whenever that goes up. Whenever we get a chance to record it. If you want to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, everywhere, it's luckwehadpod. Email us luckwehadpod@gmail.com. Go to our link tree, find our Ko-Fi, get some stickers, get some shirts, hang out with us, talk to us, message us, email us. We love to hear from y'all. Like, asking you guys what things you wanted us to point out in Emily, like, helped us structure some of these notes, which was really nice.
Yeah.
If you want to follow me, you can follow me at abnormalamanda on Twitter, at abnormalamanda18 on Instagram, and at abnormalamanda_18 on TikTok. My lovely co-hosts, where can they find you on the internet?
You guys can find me on TikTok at unevent. You can find me on Instagram at I'mOK4000, or you can follow me on Twitter at InternetLifeYo. And Lena, where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Durs Holmvik, but the L is an I, like the character from Workaholics. You can find me on Instagram at Kojak, COJACKK. I've been thinking about making a return to TikTok, but I'm not gonna say that's for sure yet, so I'm not gonna drop that.
I barely post on it anymore because it takes up so much room in my phone. It takes up 16 gigabytes when I don't even have a single draft. Yeah, so I don't operate it as much on my phone anymore.
Clear your cache as often as you can.
I do every time I open it. Still
Really?
16 gigs. Yeah,
Jesus.
I'd have to delete the app.
But yeah, I'm an absolute menace on Twitter. I'm trying to get I successfully launched Workaholics Stan Twitter. I'm working on Danny McBride Stan Twitter. I'm launching it, guys. Soft launch.
But I want to say a very big thank you to all of our listeners for being so patient, for being so wonderful, and for tuning in for Emily. We really, really hope you enjoyed it. And tell us what you think, but please be nice to us. We are fragile, fragile people. Rate, review, subscribe. It is a treat. It's fun. And I'm glad that we're like finally having fun with it again.
I agree.
Which is so nice. Anything else you guys want to say?
I think that's it.
I don't think so.
Until next time, until the season finale of season 4, thank you all for listening. Thank you all for being here.
Thank you so much.
Goodbye.
This is the best.
Bye, friends.